We threw $30,000 in this WRX, upgrading everything from the tires to the turbos. A couple weeks ago, I took this car to the canyons where the transmission mysteriously exploded. And then Justin, while driving low WRX, had the exact same failure.
Look, man, it's not my fault, all right? I wasn't even doing anything.
Within 2 weeks, 2 different drivers, 2 failures, but the same model of transmission. Now we know I'm not the problem because I'm a professional race car driver. But Justin, on the other hand, he's a big, strong boy. Maybe he broke the transmission with his strength. Or maybe could Subi be to blame for such a weakness in their transmission? Get your pitchforks ready, vape lords. Today, we're cracking these transmissions open to see how they work, look at their failure points, and diagnose what went wrong. We're gonna figure this out, solve the mystery, so this doesn't happen to you. Welcome to Donut.
Yeah, this has to pop.
All right, while Justin and the boys are pulling the transmissions out of the WRXs, in front of me, I have a transmission from a 350Z. The reason I have this is because we're gonna use it as an explainer to see how these things work, and particularly this one works really, really well. It's a proven platform. If anything is different from this to the WRX, we'll know if it's our fault or if it's Subi's fault.
That's not mine.
Let's do a little deep dive inside a spinning ball of engineering marvel. All right, now that we have our transmission pretty much disassembled, at least from the case, we get to see the inside of it and see how this thing works. Now, there are a couple of main components here. I'm gonna walk through each one so we can see how you get transmission of power from your engine to the rear wheels. All this hard work is making me thirsty. Good thing today's video is sponsored by AirUp. AirUp is a great and unique way to meet your daily water intake. Simply fill up your AirUp bottle with plain old water, pop on your favorite scent pod, pull up to activate, and boom! Your plain water is now loaded with delicious flavor, or should I say, scented flavor. It's just regular H2O. No chemicals, no sweeteners, or artificial nonsense. And when you don't want any flavor, all you gotta do is push the scent pod down to deactivate. It's that easy. With the holidays around the corner, there's no better time to give family, friends, or loved one a gift with taste. AirUp is perfect for people who love water, which hopefully is all of you, because water is good for you. So, click the link below, save up to 30% with AirUp's holiday bundles, but you're gonna wanna click fast because this offer ends December 26th for those of you who shop after Christmas. Just click the link below. Thank you, AirUp. First things first, you have your input shaft. Now this input shaft is what's driven directly off the flywheel and the clutch on the engine side. And on the back end here, we have our output shaft. Now our input shaft and our output shaft, when the car is in neutral, rotate independently of each other. Well, if we want to get transmission of power from the engine to the rear wheels, we need to make some sort of connection. And to do that, you have a counter shaft. Now, the counter shaft is the link between those two shafts. And the way that you make that connection is with these shift forks. Now, these shift forks are directly tied to the gear selector inside the car. I want to shift into first gear. I shift into first. This shift fork engages this gear set right here. That gear set interacts with the gear on the counter shaft. That counter shaft then interacts with this output shaft. And now the input shaft spins the output shaft. Push the clutch in. Pretty clever way getting power to the rear wheels when you need to manage torque at various speeds. Now, one clever bit of engineering that allows you to shift from one gear to the next without grinding it are these synchronizers. So these are little gear sets that kind of have a little bit of play with them, and they're angled like this, which allows this shift fork to be able to slide into a new gear set while that gear is spinning at a different speed. Pretty cool. Now, obviously, you have a bunch of moving parts inside a transmission, so that leads to a bunch of failure points. A lot of the failure points are usually in the shift forks themselves or in the gears. So those are the things that are obviously moving the most and getting the most use. And one of the things that makes a transmission robust is the gear set itself, the material of the gear, as well as the actual mass and size of the gear. So as you can see, first is the largest gear. It has the most teeth, it has the largest diameter. Fourth, on the other hand, has the smallest diameter. However, it's a lot wider. It also has very thick teeth. Now in the case of Nissan, for example, this could be considered an overbuilt transmission. You can put a whole bunch more power to it because the engineers built it way beyond its means of failure. Now, apparently on the Subarus, third gear in particular is a small baby, little massless gear set. If old Jeremiah Burton was a betting man, I would say third gear in the Subaru transmission, totally disconnected from the input shaft, which will prove that I had nothing to do with it. All right, so I was out driving a nice canyon road, going at a reasonable speed. I was probably around 6,500 RPM when I shifted from third to fourth. It went up, made a very loud noise, and then wouldn't go into third. If I could have done anything different, I wish that I wasn't the one driving when it broke. We pulled this transmission out of a freaking junkyard. Who knows who else beat the crap out of this thing? I just happened to be the one that got stuck with the f***ing mess. I plead not guilty. I had nothing to do with it. I was just driving when it popped.
We had a track day film with the new WRX versus high WRX, right? I just wanted to go out to the track day. I'd already done a couple of laps, not very fast. We're just going around the carousel. I'm in third. I didn't even go to second. That's how slow I was going, on purpose. And then I go to shift into fourth, fell out of third. You hear a big pop, and then it goes into fourth. Oop, there went that. Guess what just happened?
What could you have done to prevent it?
Not drove that day? I am not guilty. Yes, I broke the ascender. Fine. This could have been anyone as well. I was just unlucky. This is not my fault. I plead not guilty. I'm done. Not guilty. Spilling all over the floor, buddy. Oh, shit. Oh, that's not looking too good for Jeremiah. Not my fault. Small.
Yeah.
Small, skinny.
I mean, that's kind of the running theme with the Subarus is that as long as you don't go crazy with the turbo and everything, they're totally fine.
Super
Totally
reliable. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like the WRX is just, hey, this is an Impreza with boost. The STI is the one you should be doing all this stuff to in the first place because it's made for that extra power, but people can't afford it. Okay, look, the only argument I can see you coming up with down there in those comments is the fact that we didn't have to upgrade the 350Z transmissions between turbo and V8 swap. But here's the thing, that's rear-wheel drive. They're built completely different for different stress levels. These all-wheel drive transmissions have to fit in a small package. Naturally, the things are a little bit smaller and they go through a bit more stress. Plus, this car was meant to be driving in loose dirt, slight rally kind of thing, and it's a smaller engine, less power going through. I don't know what you want me to say, but as soon as we open that transmission, you're gonna see they're completely different.
This is transmission out of high car. What a colossal mess.
If only you saw the amount of metal that came out of it. Yeah, hold on.
Oh, look at that. Are these teeth from a gear?
I think
yeah,
so.
They are. That's exactly what that is.
So for the record, Low-Rex did not have this much coming out. Just so you know.
Hydrate. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing here.
No, nothing in here. It's looking pretty good.
We need to dive deeper into the belly of the beast.
Bog your tree.
If you guys could only smell this.
Oh, that's a weird smell.
It's weird.
It's like a smell.
Oh, dude. Oh. Oh, dude. Ugh. Ah. Ooh, we got some milky goo. You can see the big chunks of metal coming out
down
here.
in there.
Yeah, so I did continue to drive this car after I blew third gear.
And I did not.
Yeah, I did because I hate tow truck drivers, okay? One thing that we haven't really talked about is pretty common in the Subaru forums for you to come across people who have had third gear failures in the 5-speed transmission.
Yeah, around a certain horsepower number.
Sure. Without further ado, let's take a look at the inside of our 5-speed Subaru transmission. See what went wrong. Let's go. Sky?
It's hanging up on something.
Oh, I remember that kid.
Well, there seems to be a problem right there. Our culprit, as predicted. Third gear, the actual teeth on the gear itself really are just chewed up on both the input shaft and the counter shaft. That's really, really bad. Yeah, third gear is not looking great. Now, one of the things, while these sleeves are not engaged with the gears themselves, they should freely spin on this shaft. Well,
That's friction welding.
those metal fragments got inside there and prevent it from rotating freely.
You think that happened because you kept driving on it?
Well, I think what happened is these gears are not meant to be able to handle 400 plus horsepower. Just take a quick look at our 350Z transmission here.
Yeah.
These things are incredibly stout.
Yeah,
They're beefy.
Yeah.
The teeth themselves are really thick and the gears themselves are wide and thick. These are so small. So say you do a rough second to third and you chip a tooth. Okay, that's not great, but it's still gonna be, still a run. Say you downshift real hard from fourth to third, chip another tooth. You do that over 180,000 miles and eventually,
Domino effect.
domino effect, yeah. Now I think it's fair to say that failure point of this is the actual gear itself. The dimensions and size, mass, all of that of this gear set is not engineered to be able to take the amount of horsepower being applied.
You have to remember, this transmission, even with these small gears, is made to put power to 4 wheels, whereas this is just 2 wheels. So why is this so much more robust than this is if it has to do more work? I don't know. Ask the engineers, because it's not our fault.
I think probably it's a packaging design. They have to fit smaller gear set in a smaller case and bell housing. Also, it could just be manufacturing because it's cheaper.
There's a lot of factors here that could play in why they chose to make smaller gears for this, but it doesn't really make up for the fact that it can't handle 180 plus more horsepower than stock.
With all that being said, this was a design flaw when you put that much horsepower to a car. They didn't design it for that, so I don't know if it's a flaw. But we've looked at high car transmission.
It's my turn.
Now let's see if low car has a similar issue. All of these stuff, huh?
I think we're gonna open this thing up and it's gonna be the exact same story. Maybe even a little bit less bad.
So far, so good.
All right, we're looking good so far. Let's keep going.
Okay, so we're looking at 5th gear right here. Everything seems to be okay.
Still not as bad as yours.
That's correct. We need to go further. We need to get into the belly of the beast. Hold on, stop. All right,
Well, Jerry, I'm not seeing anywhere near as much metal. My gears are still somewhere intact.
here.
Oh God, that is a lot of metal. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's all hiding.
Okay, so on the input shaft, the gears are pretty much, dude, they're like
Worn down.
worn completely down. But you still have some teeth on the connecting shaft.
That's because I went straight into neutral and didn't touch it again, and I parked it within 100 yards.
Yeah,
So.
should have done that too. I don't think you slowing down saved it. I think you were driving it less hard when it blew.
That's true.
And it just blew the
piece.
teeth off of this gear.
Right. So this probably was already breaking.
This was probably already
Over time,
breaking over
yeah.
time, and this is completely sheared off. And if you have no teeth on one gear, well, it's not gonna interact with the other one. Okay, so we have 2 third gear failures. High car, much worse, but it also made a lot more horsepower.
That is true.
So when it does go,
and you drive a
goes.
lot harder than I do.
Third gear failure, we're chalking it up to a poor design in terms of being able to handle 400 horsepower. Our advice would be, if you're gonna put engine modifications on your Subaru WRX and you have this transmission, don't. Or just realize that this is gonna be your life.
Yeah.
Or save up while you just hammer on this one. And then when it pops, it pops. We have 2 WRXs that are now not functioning because we don't have transmissions that works. Should we replace these guys with some STI 6-speeds? Should we just rebuild them with the stock 5-speed? Should we put a sequential in one of them? Let us know in the comments below. Justin, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We learned a whole bunch.
And we broke stuff.
And we found out we weren't the ones who did bad.
Innocent boys.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. Everything else at Donut. Bye.
Have a good one.